Hi everyone, welcome back. We're heading into episode 5. A lot happened in the last 2 episodes. We had Pride, plus them losing Kai Kai. I guess this is sometimes what happens. You forget you can't have that same type of freedom now that you have children, and you do have to keep your eyes on them. And then in episode 4, that dealt much more with the family dynamics, and Kai Kai is starting to question things because the kids around him, his classmates, are ostracizing him and making him feel a certain way, which could be in turn from the mother's gossiping, or it could just be when children see something that is different or hear something is different, so they think to uh, put it somewhere else. So it's not of the norm, it's not what they like. And as we know, kids can be quite vicious towards one another, especially because they don't understand the repercussions because they're too young. And also, I guess with the mothers, it was so much easier for them to just quickly decide that the sister was the mother, and it made sense. We never saw outright homophobia, we just saw a curious nature to them, but it could have made it really hard for Kai Kai at school, was what we would call, because I guess they would call it preschool, we would call it nursery. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you want full reactions to this and other things, I do have a Patreon. I will leave a link in the description box below. Okay, so he's doing his lives again. Cooking with Jerry. 500,000 subscribers. That's a really nice amount. Oh, I mean, he is free to be himself, and this is what he's showing us that he can be. I mean, yeah, and the nails as well. What would this mean though if his mother watches this? Because doesn't she think he's straight? I guess she just doesn't want to see what's clearly in front of her face. I still though.
那我要干嘛？我先说，我的手不能碰水哦，因为人家才刚做好水晶指甲。
So then, why are you there? Yeah, thank you. Someone else is thinking this. Don't get me wrong, he is pretty. He would grate on me quite quickly, but again, at least he is being himself.
OK， 那我们现在就来切甜椒啦。
He is, or maybe they are living their best life.
好，我们现在切下一个了。
Oma. Let's see what she's got to say.
妈。
潘姐弟呀，刚才在直播上面那个是你的大学同学黄嘉恩吗？
对啊。
Yes.
他怎么变成那个样子，不男不女的啦？
你不要乱批评人家好不好？
At least he stands up for his friend.
你知道我干嘛？
好啦，妈妈是要来恭喜你啊，你的粉丝人数已经破50万了耶，非常厉害哦。
Oh yeah, of course she does watch because she mentioned about the child.
还可以啦。如果有广告商
I mean, yeah, you make money or if you get advertisements. Not if you're a reactor, really. If you make anything.
我怎么知道啊？现在就去努力想好好的内容嘛。那你管那么多干嘛？
Because she wants you to marry and have children with a woman.
还相亲嘞？
妈，我没时间谈恋爱。
No, of course you don't. You're more or less, well, you are married and have a child. You've been with someone a long time.
我现在每天都很忙，新的一条3个月后了。
你不要再找借口了，你就给我乖乖的去相亲，反正我钱都缴了。
You what?
那个妈妈很忙啊，
You paid?
你记得给我穿帅一点哦，赶快去给我相亲。
Then that makes sense. Parents kind of do have this nature to want their child to have the form of happiness that they believe is normal and what they've had. I don't know what you're gonna have to tell her or something. It's coming to that point, you can tell her.
我都有按时收看你的频道学做菜哦。哇，你本人更帅耶！
Okay.
但是啊，
He's so uncomfortable.
小卷那一集啊，如果你前面先花椒去煸香的话，味道会更棒哦。还有苦瓜小。
Oh, she's one of those who wants to tell you how to do it even better.
我告诉你，我厨艺超棒的。你往 我女儿就知道啦。
Okay, it's called the door.
哎呦，你害羞什么啦？天菜就在你前面，还在吃什么菜？要是妈妈年轻个几十岁，早就倒追了。
So it feels like you are going after
妈
him.
妈那个喝茶，
谢谢。
潘杰利。
I don't know why I started to lean over as if I can magically see around him. I wonder what people think when you say you're a
我在
YouTuber.
念二，最近在研究现代人步入婚姻之前的一些行为模式，为我的论文做准
I
备。
feel like I'm looking at my past goth self.
看起来一点都不像来相亲的。
你看起来不需要靠相亲找对
Yeah, I
象，
don't think she truly cares. She's probably being forced.
被家人逼的。
Yeah.
对，不过你好厉害哦，这样也猜得到。
干嘛那么听话啊？
我是家里的长子。
He doesn't want to, yeah, bring shame.
不过我妈又属猴的，整天喉结要死，一直逼我相亲。
你摩羯座的对不对？
你怎么会知道？
Steffi.
哦，你太神了吧！
你在哪里呀？
卖场啊，买等一下直播用的东西。
介绍怎么又不跟我说？有一个黄小姐的妈妈很满意。
Yeah, the mom likes
跟
him.
人家联络啊？
哦，黄小姐啊，黄小姐太文静了啦。而且我跟她妈还聊得比较来，你应该不介意我交往跟你年纪差不多的吧？
开玩笑。
Who says he was joking?
听说是个高材生，应该很不错哦。
人家对我没兴趣啊。
That's true, she was not that interested like that, but good friendship.
是我啊，上次跟我妈一起在那个咖啡店。
Oh, you can speak.
啊，黄小姐，终于听到你开口说话。
那个其实我妈她一直在等你跟我们联络哎。
哦，我最近有点忙。
I'm not interested. He's trying to be nice.
啊。
哎，爸爸，你今天好慢哦。
Yeah, he's got a kid.
还有他的书包。
Uh-oh.
好，谢谢，拜拜。
他是你儿子？
黄小姐，我不是故意要隐瞒你的，我有我的苦衷，希望你不要跟你妈说。
好，我不会说。
Yeah, she's like, maybe I'm not interested now. Yeah. She's like, screw the child.
对不起。
还有，你之后如果我要去相亲，我觉得你要诚实一点啦。
She's kind of crying, okay. But she is right, but there's such a conflict in this. Because you want to say yes, he needs to be honest, but we all understand why he can't be.
你肚子饿吗？
He's sorry for how he
Yeah,
spoke
that's
to
so
him.
much, yeah.
Yeah. He's more upset, I think, than anything.
是你
Upset and mad are different things. Oh, look how shy he is.
老公，对不起，是我太懦弱，不但伤害你，也对不起想找对象的那些女生。
I mean, she has to tell her mom,
今
right?
天揭凯开放学的时候，巧遇黄小姐，看她伤心的样子，就好像我们交往很久。
Maybe she put too much hope in you, or the idea of the celebrity you.
可见，他是真的蛮喜欢你的。那你接下来打算怎么办？
Absolutely nothing.
我不想失约，但我想当面跟对方说清楚真实的情况。之后我也不会再参加任何的相亲，我也不想再欺骗任何人。
We always knew this kind of coming to a head was bound to happen. You could feel it from the episodes as they progressed.
不如明天我陪你去吧。如果他们看到我们这么恩爱，一定会理解的。
Will they though? Let's see.
可是你妈那边怎么办？
And he's the oldest.
我不知道，有些话我想要当面跟你说清楚。这次的相亲是我妈妈安排的，可是我喜欢的是男生。 就是他，我们在一起已经6年了。
At least
干嘛还要答应你妈来相亲啊？
真的对不起
tell you
耽误了
sorry.
时间是我还不够勇敢。
陈小姐，今天所有的费用我们都会负责，不好意思，让你外跑一趟。
是不用啦，也没有多少钱。
拜托，我们是真的很想弥补。
神经哦，我不是被骗财骗色了，没那么严重啊。
Okay, because I couldn't tell with how she was acting there. Maybe she was saying her lines a bit too aggressively.
有喜欢怎么样类型的男生，我们可以。
Ones who like women.
对，我身边有认识很多条件不错的。
哎，算了吧，你们觉得条件好的应该也都是 gay 吧
？Oh no.
杰力，几次相亲下来都没有结果，我以为是你害羞不知道怎么跟女生相处，原来真相竟然是这个样子。
I'm surprised she heard that, because usually in these shows they make it seem that they wouldn't hear that.
你跟他联合起来一起骗我。
I mean, you. And in front of everyone in a restaurant.
你不是高中的时候还交过女朋友吗？
Yes.
事
And
上研法，我其实从国中的时候就发现我喜欢男生。
吵了这么久，
some people hide it for their whole lives. I wish they didn't have to.
怎么会这样？你是，你妹也是，都是我的错。
Oh, here it
变成
comes.
同性恋让你们生病，都是我的错。
Oh, sick.
这跟你没关系，而且同性恋去病化很久了，台湾连同志婚姻法都过了。
我不管，一定有办法改变。走啊走，我带你去看精神科。
你可不
Oh,
可以
here it
冷静一
comes.
点啊？我就是怕你这样，我才不敢
Okay.
跟你说啊。
那你就应该瞒到底啊！你就应该像正常人一样结婚生子。
He is a
成家
normal
立业嘛
person.
你这样子，我要怎么跟你爸交代啊？
要交代什么？我到底做错什么了？
Exactly, you're not doing anything wrong, but people wouldn't always be afraid of something they don't understand.
陪着我，这难道不是你们希望的吗？
你太自私了，我再也不要管你的事情了。
Okay.
你和米恩
I'm trying not to say anything about that whole selfish part. It is definitely very much about culture as well. But I feel like that's a lot of parents' reactions. A lot. All over the world.
谢谢凯凯，得提前送你上学好不好？
送他上学。
He needs that time to kind of grieve kind of what happened. And it's okay because his kind of worst fears came true when it came in regards to how his mother would react. We don't know how the father's going to react. But because they don't pay for any of his bills and stuff like that, he doesn't have that fear of them cutting him off in that way.
跟失恋一样啊！妈又没有帮你搞定啊！我跟你说，他以前交到我跟女友亲亲的时候，也是那闹。
That was her girlfriend though.
现在不是好好的，还警告我不准花心哎。
那是他早就放弃你了。
啊，对啊，所以说没有期待就不会有失望啊。
She's gone through it. I'm glad she can talk to him, at least in this way.
那是你没看到妈的表情，恨不得没生过我一样。
他就很会情绪勒索啊。
Yeah, I was gonna say she's gone through the same thing.
只是你还吃他那一套，你吃不腻啊？嗯。
小芳知道了。
废话，那马上打给我们问知不知道你的事情。我跟你说，姐那时候在开会，然后她说妈声音大到主管以为家里谁死掉了。
Oops.
差不多了吧？
没那么严重啦，你往好处想，你现在就可以大方做自己啊。
I have a lot to say about this scene because I actually think it's a really good scene from both of the actors here.
还是你要不要找机会跟爸聊聊？
不要。
He seemed afraid there. Why not?
没在跟你开玩笑。
好好好。
不是你的错。
Is it too late? Are the parents there?
哎呀。
Yep.
妈，你们怎么来啊？
Oh, I can see why he was nervous about the dad.
朋友，他们准备要走了。
你朋友，那就一起进来，我也认识认识。
啊，没关系啊。
See, the dad's not stupid. He knows exactly what was going on. Oh, I wonder how this is going to go, because they've represented the father in a very stern, strict, intimidating way. And he's quite a tall man, seeing as those two actors are quite tall as well.
一下，家里很乱。
又不是外人，你不要忙了，坐下。
Yeah, see, he's got that tone. That father tone. I mean, I never grew up with my dad, but I'm sure that's what they have.
爸爸，他是潘杰利的同事。对啦，之前是。
You guys can't even get your story
你不是告
straight.
诉我他上个月搬出去了吗？
对，他下一班出去了，我们现在只是同事。
哦，是非常非常单纯的同事。
Right.
潘伯伯你好，我叫 Damien。
Here we go. Oh no, people stood up. Oh, he seems nervous.
一点见面礼，谢谢你这几年对杰利的照顾。
Oh, so he's
我
known.
应该早点来看你们的。
Yeah, a whole shift in his character. That was smartly done from the show. Because now he seems, the dad seems
刚
nervous.
刚电视上有拍到你参加同志游行的画面，旁边是你哥吗？
啊，被拍到了。
为什么？
Oh, so he's known for a while.
啊，你不要问我啦，这种事他自己说比较好啦。你先挂了。
不是什么很贵重的礼物，但是跟杰利大学毕业时我送。
Is that him welcome him into the family?
虽然我无法理解你们的感情，但是潘贝贝有在看新闻，
And saw you.
知道这个世界已经跟我们当年的年代不一样了。谢谢，潘贝贝。
I have to give it to them, they did such a good thing here. The mom was the one to have the most extreme reaction. You know, they switched the whole stereotyping about gender roles and men and women and how they react to things like this.
所以，我选择接受。
爸爸，当我知道他是同性恋的时候，我真的压力好大。
It's a very important moment.
我每天都失眠。
你早就知道了。
我变得好辛苦啊。
This mother. Oh, she's a mother. There he is, look at him.
你叫什么名字？凯凯呀，妈妈，这真是我们的孙子哎。
You finally get to meet him. Right now they're a family, but we have one more episode to go.
你看看，几岁啦？哎呀，帅小子，哎，
this was an extremely important episode. We have the dreaded coming out to your parents moment. Now we know Jerry has for a long time hidden who he is because he's felt so much pressure, and they have kind of highlighted that his mother knew how to manipulate the situation around him to make him feel guilty. It's a parent thing. I feel like parents know sometimes how to say certain things, especially if they know their child is really close to them or is the one they can cuddle. He went on the blind dates and they were really interesting because they were all so different. And at least he was honest by the end of it. And we knew it was coming because we'd had that build up. With the mother, again, I guess it's not too much of a shock. It was just interesting because when she knew it wasn't her child, she said things which she was never malicious. And then when she found out it was her son, she did say quite hurtful things. But then she did what a lot of parents do, which is she tried to then protect him from the father finding out. But they were really smart in how they kind of subverted your expectations. They made him arrive very stoic, very together, intimidating. And then as soon as he brought out that gift, he was nervous. He kind of was shy. And him accepting them as quickly as he did. But then we know from that little flashback that he found out when they went to Pride. Because obviously they don't give you a time frame from this, which in this show doesn't really hinder it too much as it goes on, because we just expect it now to take the span of probably a year in their life, because things have been changing for them. You go back to work, or YouTube, which is YouTube, just dates, family finding out, and of course the sister's reaction by saying, well, look how mother was when I came out, and now they're fine. But it is a cultural thing as well, because we all come from different places in the world. But we do have that fear of coming out to our parents because we don't want to disappoint them, or for them to use that word, I'm disappointed, or it's along those lines. Because as soon as she started saying this sickness and to see a therapist and not being normal, this is something that a lot of people do go through. Because when you have the fear of the unknown, it brings out sometimes the worst in you. And they did mention about her using her blackmail, her emotional blackmail, which we saw her do. And it was interesting because when the father was okay with it, she went on about how she couldn't sleep and how it all affected her, not thinking about anyone else. And that kind of was a humour trait that they tried to put into the character as well, to kind of make you slightly laugh and see that no one's really a bad person in this situation. And the father spoke about how times have changed, and this is right. I think we sometimes forget ourselves how quickly a period can change and people's perceptions. And of course, in Taiwan, things are different. But if we just think a few generations back, how different it was for them, or just how hard it was for people who weren't straight. And there's still a lot of countries where you can't be yourself for fear of far worse than what we saw in this episode. But I'm glad they could meet Kai Kai. He's 3 and a bit now, and they've never met him. Damien and Jerry have been in a relationship for over 6 years. It's a long time to be with someone and hide who you are, especially because Jerry is almost 30, but he's still so afraid to tell his parents and to be himself, even though he is clearly himself when he's out and about. And that's why it's surprising that it wasn't found out sooner, because the mum is always there somehow, that she just turns up. But I'm glad that they could have this moment to kind of a reprieval. We had a little bit of the angst and the hardship, and then the father being quite okay with it and coming to terms with it a lot quicker than the mother. And clearly he just wants to love his children, and so does the mom. But it was just nice that they gender role reversed that scene and moment, because I think we all think that the fathers are going to be the worst ones in that situation, and in this case it was the mother. And we don't know how people react in these situations, because we all live with different people, culture, religion, family, countries, we are in different places. And I think this was an extremely important message to put out, that if your family truly loves you, they will accept you for you. And it may take time, but hopefully they come around, especially if they do love you. I know not everyone gets this type of happy ending, but I hope for those of you who are afraid that this is a little bit of comfort for you. Of course, you have to come out of your own free will, and to tell people when you want, you should never be forced out. And in this situation, it kind of was Jerry needed to find a way of how to bring about the subject, because it was piling up on him, and eventually it would have come out some way because of the dates and things like that, which were really interesting. They were very short and sweet, but the dates were interesting. All three women were so different, but at least it ended like kind of family image of them all together. I guess we'll find out what happens in the last episode. Thank you for watching.